Battlefield 6 is quite the hefty game when you consider the campaign, core multiplayer experience, and the huge world of Portal with near limitless potential for custom experiences that you, the player, can create yourself. Today, brought to you in part by EA, we're taking a deep dive into the ultimate beginner's guide for Battlefield 6, running down just about any and everything that you need to know, whether or not you're a returning vet or a brand new player picking up Battlefield for the first time. Today, we're taking a look at everything that you should know. So drop your thoughts, drop a like, and do me a huge favor if you'd be so kind, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Battlefield 6, among other FPS content as we chase down 700,000 subscribers. I'd love to have you in the community. Finally, thanks to EA for sponsoring this guide. So first and foremost, the very main menu when you boot up the game is going to show you just about everything that you have on offer. You have stuff like featured playlist, you have the campaign, you have Portal. So let's start out with campaign here, just because that's something that is pretty linear, pretty straightforward. Your campaign, you have the difficulties of recruit, regular, veteran, and hardcore. Hardcore being, of course, the toughest with no revives coming along with it, so a big challenge there for that. There are some challenges and trophies or achievements you can end up getting for completing the campaign on that hardcore difficulty. Spoiler free, you have 9 missions total where you follow Dagger 1-3 as you try to get to the bottom of the missions that went wrong for your unit, following the trail of Pax Armada as they attempt to shake up the global balance of power, uncovering secrets and twists the whole way. The gameplay, combat takes you around the globe and allows you to familiarize yourself with the world of Battlefield 6, some weapons, and even some squad tool sets that's pretty cool to allow you to command your AI companions, kind of keeping that experience of co-op alive even if you're playing solo. There are collectibles scattered throughout the world, the lowest in a mission being 2, the most being 4, most having 3 though. There are trophies and individual mission rewards available for collecting X amount of these trophies, for completing all of them in specific missions, and of course an exclusive dog tag for completing and finding all of them. All of that and the story can be accomplished in campaign. Let's talk about multiplayer. The true core of your multiplayer experience comes down to your classes: Assault, Engineer, Support, and Recon. These serving distinct roles within the gameplay environment. Assault is your tip of the spear, first in the fight, that aggressive play. Engineer is your vehicular and anti-vehicular play, used to aid or take out heavy armor. Support is supporting your squad through revives, ammo supplies, and more. And Recon is your eyes in the sky, spotting players for your team and laying down cover fire, or with the right shooter, kill shots from afar. These each come along with a signature gadget, weapon, and trait. The gadget for Assault is the Adrenaline Injector, where it gives a temporary boost to speed while reducing explosive and incendiary damage and provides brief resistance to and clears the effects of flash and stun grenades. Your signature weapon for Assault are Assault Rifles, where you have faster draw times and you can fire sooner out of a sprint with Assault Rifles in the Assault classification. And finally, the signature trait is Mission Focused, where you have faster progression when capturing objectives, including arming and disarming MCOM explosives. You also have quicker cooldown on your in-combat state, so players can join up on you faster, allowing you to have that support as you maybe push another objective. Engineer comes along with the repair tool to repair friendly vehicles, and the SMGs are the signature weapon, where those have improved hip-fire control when used in the Engineer class. And the signature trait is Mechanized Infantry, allowing you to take less explosive damage when near friendly vehicles, and you prevent them from being occupied by hostiles in the event that all of your team ends up exiting the vehicle. You can also repair the vehicle health to keep both effects active. Support, your signature gadget, is the supply bag that allows for resupplies to all nearby friendlies with ammo for gadgets and weapons, while allowing for health regeneration to be more efficient, even under fire, essentially mitigating some of that suppression effect, which would be otherwise incoming fire that delays your automatic health regeneration when damaged. Your signature weapons are the LMGs, where those, when used with the support class, have faster transition to ADS, and there's also no sprint penalty when carrying LMGs. And finally, that signature trait is the Squad Supplies, where squad members can interact with you to gain health and ammo. Finally, your Recon class has the motion sensor to spot nearby moving enemies, vehicles, and gadgets, marking their position in the world to you. It also emits an audible sound to hostiles though, so be conscious of that. The Recon has a sniper proficiency, where when using sniper rifles, you'll have reduced weapon sway and quicker rechambering between shots, and better breath control for steadier aim. And finally, that signature trait is the Aim Spot, which allows you to aim down sight, find hostiles, and it will spot them, marking their location in-world and on the minimap for your teammates. Time required to spot is dependent on factors such as movement and zoom levels. Now, each of these classes have those core sort of abilities and things that make them special, but they each come along with 2 additional training paths, these essentially being your choice of class buffs that you can earn and progress through with your match. Gaining XP as you go along in each match will progress your tiers of bonuses that you end up earning everything over time. However, one training path is locked. You have 1 by default. Those defaults, for Assault, you have Breacher, which allows you to have extra grenades, carrying 1 extra grenade on your person, Agile Shooter, which allows you to have a reduction in movement speed penalties when firing while moving, and Unrelenting Reload, which is a 15% faster reload for incendiary shotgun and grenade and breaching projectiles. Those requiring you to have the gadgets equipped, though. Once past tier 2, though, you end up moving towards tier 3, which is then your active ability, something that's shared across both training paths. So this is where those training paths come together and have the same buff at the end, no matter which training path you take. The active ability for Assault is Rally Squad, where you and nearby squad members gain a temporary adrenaline effect that can be extended by getting kills. Now, as for your Engineer, that default training path you have is the Anti-Armor, where at its core you have extra rockets, that tier 0 ability you end up coming in with. That allows you to carry 2 additional rockets. Tier 1, as you go along, you get some XP, is Launcher Proficiency, which reloads your launchers 15% faster. Tier 2 is Devastating Impact, which, when damaging enemy vehicles, reduces their repair effectiveness by 50% for 10 seconds. And then that active ability, once you complete all of that, you work towards Thermal Overdrive, which your repair tool then has a plus 50% efficiency for 10 seconds when repairing vehicles. Support, you have Combat Medic as your default training path. At tier 0, that base ability, you have Urgent Aid, which allows you to drag down soldiers 20% faster while also reviving them 2.5 seconds quicker. Tier 1, as you go along and start getting XP, is Revive Recovery, which allows for passive health regeneration to be triggered when reviving a downed teammate, though incoming damage will halt the effect for 1 second. That suppression effect we already talked about once again. Tier 2 is Defense Focus, which allows for defensive gadgets to have a plus 25% resupply rate, where the GPDIS or that trophy system will intercept 2 more projectiles before it breaks. The MP APS tracking duration is extended by 5 seconds, and the deployable cover takes 10% less damage from incoming enemy fire. All of that then funnels to the final tier of the active ability of Restock Allies, where it allows friendlies to heal and resupply off of you for 10 seconds, and reviving teammates only takes 1.7 seconds. Finally, your default training path for Recon is Sniper, where at tier 0, that base, again, thing you don't need to work towards at all, it is there from the very beginning of the match, is Enhanced Perception. That allows for improved auto-spotting with 33% increased distance and 10% wider angle of detection from weapon crosshairs. Spotting is quicker and lasts 3 seconds longer. Tier 1 is Target Acquired, which spots enemies when damage is inflicted, marking their position in-world and on the minimap. And Tier 2 is Confirmed Kill, where enemy soldiers you kill with headshots from Sniper cannot be revived by their teammates. All of that, again, funneling to the active ability of UAV Overwatch, which will call in the UAV to shadow you within a 100-meter radius and spot enemy combatants for 60 seconds. But how do you get the other training path then? Well, that comes down to assignments in your challenges tab of your main menu, or you can go there from the unlock requirements on the actual training path itself. But going to the assignments in your challenges tab is essentially additional sets of challenges and ways to unlock things. Assignments have the tabs of Initiation, Weapon, Class, and Unit. Initiation is basically just some of your preliminary stuff, getting the basics of everything and some basic rewards like XP. Weapon is how you unlock more weapons as you go along, the higher tier weapons in each classification. Class is where you end up getting more gadgets and things like training paths. And then Unit is more cosmetic skins that you can end up getting for your characters based off of gameplay in specific modes. Now, the class assignment opens up at level 20. You have to be rank 20 to end up unlocking these initially, but then that unlocks your first tier of progress. Each class has 3 tiers across their basic assignments, and then once completed, they unlock the expert assignments for even more items to earn. The secondary training path for each class are unlocked via the second tier of assignments. So you have to complete the first tier before you unlock the challenges for the second, then complete the second tier of challenges to earn the second training path. Now, those additional training paths, once earned, are Assault of Frontliner, where you have Adrenaline Rush, which allows squad mates that deploy on you to gain the effects of the adrenaline injector for 2 seconds. Those effects also apply to you or your squad mates when deploying on your deploy beacon. That, again, is the base effect you get. So coming in directly from the match, no XP needed. Once you start gaining XP towards that first tier, you'll end up earning Soft Landing, which reduces impact from falling and jumping from heights. Tier 2 is Quick Recovery, which is passive health regeneration that triggers 50% faster and provides a 50% improvement on healing, meaning you heal faster as well as it triggers sooner. And again, all that going to the Rally Squad active ability. Engineer, that secondary unlocked training path, is Combat Engineer, where at tier 0, the base default, you have Gadget Fortification, which allows for permanent increases in max health after repairing a friendly gadget. Tier 1 is overheat control, which allows for overheating buildup on gadgets and vehicle weapons to be 50% slower, and Tier 2 is vehicle regeneration, which allows while occupying a vehicle, the health regeneration will activate if above its critical damage state. So very big for things like tanks if you are somebody that likes to play tank play. Support, that secondary training path is fire support, where the base default attribute that it comes along with is logistics expert, which allows for faster ammo resupply when using a supply bag. Tier 1 is explosive resistant, which allows for 25% reduction on incoming explosive splash damage while prone or shooting from a mounted position. And Tier 2 is steady aim, which allows for improved weapons control when shooting from mounted positions. And finally, Recon, the last training path we have here, is Spec Ops, where the base default Tier 0 is stealth tactics, which reduces the sounds you make when crouched or prone and also applies when performing takedowns on an enemy. Tier 1 is the gadget awareness, which spots nearby enemy gadgets, marking their position in the world and on the minimap. This ability is inactive when sprinting. And Tier 2 finally is low profile, which allows your in combat state to clear 1.5 seconds faster when going prone and reduces your spotted status by 33%. Again, all of those funneling to the same previously mentioned active abilities that you end up getting for all of these classes. Now, gadgets, of course, these each come along with each individual class. Some classes have more than others, like Assault has 6, Engineer has 10, Support has 8, and Recon has 6. Assault, you have your Assault Ladder, a Breaching Launcher, Explosive Launcher, and Thermobaric Launcher, a Deploy Beacon, and the Fire Shotgun. The Engineer, you have an Auto-Guided, Air Defense, Unguided, Long Range, and Aim-Guided launchers, while you also have a Supply Crate that will resupply teammates with ammo, speeds up equipment cooldowns for vehicles, and more. Then you also have Anti-Vehicle Mines, Acoustic Sensor AV Mines, Remote Controlled Robots, and a Tripwire Sensor AV Mine. Support, you have the DFIBs, the GPDIS, or a Grenade Intercept System, aka a Trophy System, the MPAPS Missile Intercept System, so taking out things that will track and destroy larger projectiles like missiles and mortars, as well as tank shells. You have a mortar itself, you have the Smoke Grenade Launcher, the Incendiary Airburst Launcher, a deployable cover, and the Supply Pouch. And then Recon has the Laser Designator, binoculars for enhanced spotting and marking capabilities. You have the Recon Drone, a Tracer Dart, Claymore, Sniper Decoy, and C4 explosives. So that's a huge deep dive into classes. Those are honestly the most integral parts about the Battlefield experience. How you play Battlefield all comes down to those 4 specific archetypes. Now, that said, let's talk a little bit about maps. We have 9 maps here at launch. Portal, of course, allowing for limitless customization. We've already seen a lot of people making things like Shipment from Call of Duty as a meme map, perhaps, but in Portal, you end up having that creative freedom. But at its core, you have 9 maps of Liberation Peak, Empire State, New Quebec City, Manhattan Bridge, Iberian Offensive, Myrick Valley, Siege of Cairo, Saints Quarters, and Operation Firestorm. Maps like Siege of Cairo, Saints Quarters, and Iberian Offensive were more so smaller scale maps, while Liberation Peak, Operation Firestorm, and Myrick Valley are larger scale maps that have that sort of all-out warfare experience with jets, helicopters, and everything that you can imagine. With Season 1 on the way, we're going to be getting even more maps coming in just a few weeks' time, but for the time being, we have 9 maps at launch. Game modes, you have quite a few official ones, but Conquest being that quintessential Battlefield experience where you have to fight over points and you want to make sure you're very conscious of the tickets that you and your team have. Tickets being spawn tickets. So if you have a chance to save yourself from bleeding out when you go down, you have a support medic nearby, don't necessarily just automatically try to respawn. That will cost your team an additional ticket that, sure, maybe 1 doesn't feel like it is a lot, but 1 adds up. 1 becomes 2, then 10, then 50, as your team progressively has the same mentality, and next thing you know, you've lost the match. Breakthrough is your squad pushing to take over 1 to 2 different objectives in a sector with different checkpoints before ultimately you're either held off by the opposing forces or you end up making your way and capturing all of the points. Escalation is Conquest, but a little bit more beefed up. You have 2 additional flags. However, points are scored by controlling the majority of sectors for X amount of time. Once a point is scored, a flag comes off the board and it shifts the combat a little bit more centralized until eventually it's the first team to end up getting 3 points, but you could be fighting over just a few flags at the very end. This mode also has more vehicles, so ups the chaos a little bit. Then you have things like closed weapon playlists, server browser that you can end up going into and checking out specific things for yourself, and a number of different playlists that will come in and out as sort of limited time playlists. As for your weaponry, there's 45 weapons across assault rifles, carbines, SMGs, LMGs, DMRs, sniper rifles, shotguns, and pistols. Now, to rank these up, Most of these are unlocked just simply by ranking up your relative overall progression. The final 2 and 3 weapons in assault rifle categories, but everything else, the final 2 weapons, your higher tier weapons, those though are not associated with your overall rank. Those instead are relegated to the assignment system that we mentioned with the class system. So just like how you had challenges for unlocking different parts of the class system, like training paths, gadgets, and some cosmetics, you also have challenges to unlock more weapons as you go along. These being unlocked at level 23, you're going to have again those 2 to 3 tiers of different challenges you have to complete. Each tier coming along with 2 challenges before you unlock that item and then moving on to the next one. That is how you end up unlocking those, again, final 2 and then in assault rifles, final 3 weapons of the classifications. But when it comes to weapon customization, you have a lot of stuff you can work with here at this. You can end up building your weapons out in just about any capacity that you'd like. You have optic accessories, stock options, barrels, grips, muzzle attachments, ammunition types, all things like that. All of this, though, going to a sort of 100-point system. Each attachment in the game has a specific point designation. Any combination of things you have, it just has to equal or be less than 100 points total. So in theory, you could kit an attachment slot for everything, or you could end up going really hard on a few specific attachments that are more expensive. It's all entirely up to the player and how they'd like to end up interacting with the game. Now, at base, you're not going to have any attachments to work with, but to unlock these, you just simply have to play with the weapon you want to use attachments on to unlock more. Attachments are tethered to weapon mastery level, which is essentially just your weapon level. Common things to go for when unlocking attachments or to kit out weapons are things like ADS speed, magazine capacity, recoil mitigation, hip fire. That's entirely all up to the player, but you have a number of options to choose from to mix and match and to make that perfect build for you. And if you want to test out a certain build, there's a firing range built in that you can try everything out without having to go into a match, spending time queuing up, loading in, and then being like, I don't really like that build. So the firing range is your best friend in this situation. Now, with the full build of the game, we do have cosmetics, something we did not see throughout the beta and leading up until this point. Now, how to access these, you have either weapon packages or camos, charms, and stickers, like actual cosmetics for the weapon itself. Weapon packages are essentially blueprints with predetermined attachments. Camos, charms, and stickers can be applied to any weapon, no matter what. Now, to apply these for the weapon packages, you have to go to your weapon selection in the classification you want. Oftentimes, it defaults to your favorites in the UI, but you can't access the full list of weapon packages from there because it's a favorited build, not the favorited weapon. But if you go to, say, the assault rifles, you want to check out the weapon packages for the M433, you can either hit square or X on controller, or right-click on mouse to bring up the weapon package menu to choose from things like the Phantom Edition skins or additional things you could have unlocked along the way. Or if you want to go to camos, charms, and stickers, all you have to do is go to customize the weapon like you would for attachment setups, and you'll see the options to select camos, charms, stickers to customize that weapon further. Now, what's the difference between weapon packages versus weapon camos? Well, weapon packages, like we talked about, is a sort of blueprint of sorts. These are pre-built and predetermined with attachments where the cosmetic design will change if you change that weapon attachment associated with the build, i.e. you'll lose the design of a magazine if it came pre-installed when changing it to a different magazine. Weapon packages are organically earned at weapon mastery level 10 or 50, 50 being the Unstoppable Force mastery skin that comes with every weapon, but more on that in a second. And weapon camos are organically unlocked via weapon mastery levels 20, 30, and 40, and occasionally challenges like a campaign challenge for a camo. These, once unlocked, are universal camos and can be applied to any weapon in the game, no matter the weapon progression of the weapon that it's not unlocked from. It could be a level 1 weapon, but you can still apply that camo from a different weapon to that. Now, talking mastery, there's a couple of different things for mastery in Battlefield 6 you can play around with. You have mastery for weapons, which come in the form of weapon packages. You can have mastery for vehicles, which comes in the way of vehicle skins. And then you have mastery badges. Weapon packages, as mentioned, these are the Unstoppable Force weapon packages, available at mastery level 50. These are bronze with a charcoal accented base, slight hints of a topographic pattern in there as well. Subtle, clean, perhaps boring to some. All preference, but it is the mastery skin no less. For that, you do not need to master every single weapon, just the ones that you want the skins for. So if you only want to get 1 or 2 or 3 different assault rifles, an SMG maybe. You only have to do those weapons, ranking them up to level 50. You don't have to go through the tedious and monotonous grind of getting every single weapon to level 50. Just the ones you care about. Skins for vehicles, you end up getting the gold standard vehicle skin at level 50 for mastery. Ironically, it's not gold, but again, this is something that you just earn as you progress through and use those vehicles more and more. You do also get vehicle camos for any vehicle that you can apply it to then at levels 10, 20, 30, and 40 through the vehicle progression. But the mastery skin is only level 50 once again. And the final bit of mastery you have available for Battlefield 6 is mastery badges. You have bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and elite. Mastery levels, these are associated with every 10 levels is a new mastery badge. So once you say reach the M433 level 10, you get the bronze badge, silver at level 20, gold at level 30, platinum at 40, and elite at 50, that mastery level. Now, that's the same thing that applies to then vehicles, but classes are a little bit different if you want to get mastery badges for those. Instead, you have to complete those assignment challenges that we talked about earlier to earn that badge progression. So a bit more work, I'd say, in completing those to get those mastery badges, but got some nice bragging rights at the end of that tunnel. But instead, let's talk a little bit about ranking overall. We've talked about actual weapon ranks and the mastery there, but the overall ranking system associated with the game is right now kind of unspecified. Total ranks we know of 1 to an unspecified number, though it was previously leaked to be 5,000. It seems like you'll earn rewards up until level 100, with a sledgehammer weapon package being a reward at level 100. What's beyond that, we don't quite know. There could be hidden rewards along the way as milestones. There could be nothing. At the moment, we just don't know. Unfortunately, there's nothing that tells us one way or the other in the menus at the moment. Whether or not that's a feature that comes in the future, we don't know, but ranking up is done with basically everything. You capture an objective, you get XP. You get an assist, you get XP. You resupply teammates, you get XP. Everything you do has an effect on how you earn XP. But there are a lot of creative ways you can end up getting XP as well, introduced via Portal. If a Portal server is close enough to a classic or official experience, let's just say somebody made a map rotation. They only want to play Myrick Valley, Firestorm, and Liberation Peak, so they end up having access to all the jets, helicopters, and everything like that. They only make that sort of rotation of maps, and nothing else has really changed. Well, you get full XP, 1-to-1. Everything you'd earn in official matchmaking servers carries over to that server. However, if you do a hard deviation like a jet race mode, you'll earn XP based upon time played in total. But with Portal, while there is that deviation, progression in creative ways is just about limitless. You also do have XP boost if you care to use those. Hardware and career XP boosters come along as a part of some pre-order bonuses, some edition bonuses with the Phantom Edition. You can earn them via challenges and assignments. So these are something that you can activate from the main menu or from your actual match itself. These count down in real time, however, so do be careful when you activate them. Challenges also are a great way to help rank you up, as you have daily, weekly, campaign, and assignment challenges that will all grant XP and some additional rewards on top of that. You also have the ability to track up to 4 of these challenges at a time if you'd like to, which is definitely nice. All of those are nice ways to gain XP. And then finally, you have character and profile customization that you can end up taking a look at, where you can take a look at your badges, dog tags, titles, and other items in your player card that then can be added so that everybody can see that in-game. Finally, the last thing here out of this ultimate guide is Portal. This, you can end up finding experiences by navigating the server browser. This is first sorted by ping on a sort of recent bias that can be refreshed if there's something else that may come up that interests you more. But you can also search for specific experiences. That also works with a filter system. Now you can set up your own creation or join your own. Setting up your own creation you have to do based off the web client, allowing you to utilize the Godot open source tool sets to build out and edit specific map layouts to whatever your heart's content. If you purchase Battlefield 6, you do have the ability to have one server of your own persistent that can be there even if you're not playing, that one of your friends can join, somebody else randomly can join if you don't password protect it, and other things like that. This giving a lot more creative agency to the player, and honestly, I'm very much so looking forward to seeing what players create in the future, because I again think the potential is limitless. But all in all, that is everything that you need to know, an ultimate guide to Battlefield 6 with just about any and everything that you could ask and need to know. So drop your thoughts down below. Is there anything in particular you guys are really liking out of Battlefield 6 and what we have so far? Anything in particular that kind of stumps you? Whatever the case, let me know. If you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Battlefield 6. I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, a thanks to EA for sponsoring this video. But until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield. Take care and peace.